use big words.
Okay.
Oh, we are live for like 10 seconds. I didn't even know.
There you go. I just got it popped up now.
Right? Okay,
Yeah.
so I need to. Okay, so we are actually. Can't believe that joke went through. Uh, I'm I'm on here, and I'm just gonna share this on my personal Facebook because you're kind of popular. You might just end up,
Star.
getting some. I need to finish that sentence. Getting some good comments. There you
Okay.
go.
There we
Yeah.
go. Cool.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I can see it on your live stream. I'll give it a like. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're golden. Let's do this.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
So I think I will introduce you a little bit. Um,
Sure.
hey people, there is no news views today because we have a very very special guest. It's my best friend from another mother. It is Adam in the UK, and
Hello.
Adam, say hi, man.
Hi, man.
So yeah, we're basically gonna talk about a few things, as you might have also already seen from the thing in the bottom. This there is an unconfirmed situation on the other side of this stream. Let's
Mhm.
talk. Hey Adam, how are you doing,
Hey.
man? It's been a while.
It has been a while. Things are okay. It's a crazy, crazy time to be living in right now in a crazy situation.
Yeah, how so? What makes the situation crazy
Well, so
for you?
I arrived back in the UK approximately like a month ago now, and that was before the lockdown that we have going on now.
Hmm.
So when I went to the airport, it was just as busy as normal. Panic was just kind of setting in, but there had been no provision by the UK government
Hmm.
at all. It was just kind of all up in the air and recommended, we should be doing this and you should be doing that. Try and stay at home. And then basically after 3, 4 days, then the lockdown was imposed. And then it started to get real. And we swear on do you want me to keep it clean, monetized?
No, no, I'm not. I'm doing this for free these days. So,
Okay.
but yeah, keep it Christian or Muslim.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I'll keep it wholesome. So,
fair enough.
yeah, yeah. Then stuff started to go down. So, the background of it as well is that my dad is my mum and my dad, who I'm living with at the minute, because I don't have enough money to get an Airbnb for God knows how long I will be over here for.
Yeah.
Um, so the same with them. They are both a key or essential workers. My dad is a bus driver, and
Mm-hmm.
my mum works in a supermarket. Um, and they have been going to work ever since the lockdown, and eventually it kind of caught up with everyone, with this unconfirmed situation in that
Yeah.
my mum and my dad have all come down with symptoms of corona. So
Really.
yeah.
And
So
this. Sorry, continue.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering, like, so when you actually landed, how long was it after, or it actually backing up, how long did they actually have to work during these certain COVID times to actually catch the virus?
So my dad is work. He does shift work, so he works sometimes 6 days, 7 days in a row, and then he gets rest days. He was
Okay.
doing that, and my mum works part time, so she's working about 3, 4 days a week
Oh, okay.
in a
Got it.
supermarket.
And so how do you take this? I mean, well, obviously not in a good way at all, but like, with family getting affected, what did you were living in under the same roof, right? And you
Yeah.
still are. How did that come across to you?
So so my dad, he works behind basically a plastic screen, and my mum is like out on the front line, shall we say, dealing with the public in the supermarket,
Hmm.
handling cash and everything.
Yeah.
And basically, it's just kind of what with us, you know, me and my mum, dad, and I now showing symptoms. It just seems to have come about purely because of just interacting and not wiping down, washing hands or wiping surfaces, or even when we have been doing that, which we are doing that like now, we just called it anyway. So for dad, like he doesn't deal with the public. As I said, he's behind a plastic screen on a bus, but he gets on a bus after someone else has been on it, and if he hasn't
Yeah.
wiped down the seat, steering wheel, and then touches his face, he's probably got it that way. My mum is handling cash, even though with gloves,
Yeah.
and and this is again before the social distancing. They were doing this before measures came into play, so it's likely that they got those the virus before the lockdown, and then after the lockdown they started symptoms. My dad was the first one to come down with symptoms. He came down with a cough.
Okay. And yeah, coming to the symptoms, like how did they actually start feeling? What was the initial reaction or the response? Like, what did they actually feel um,
So yeah,
initially?
so basically the first one was my dad, who just came down with a dry cough and was coughing all the time, hearing during the night,
Hmm.
coughing. Um, then it spread to my mum, who then basically got the same symptoms of coughing a lot, dry cough, waking up in the middle of the night and having coughing fits. Um, and then to me, where I started coughing as well, so that was the first symptoms of each of us getting it in turn. My dad
Hmm.
got, and this is the crazy thing about COVID, is that me, my family, and I have all had different levels of symptoms. So my dad got the cough. Within maybe 5 days, he was okay. He was over it. Um,
Okay.
and that was it. No fever, no sneezing. He lost his appetite. He lost his
Hmm.
appetite, but that was it. A loss of appetite and coughing, and now he's right as rain, no problem.
Okay.
Uh, my my mum still has the symptoms. She got hit the worst. She got out of breath really, really easily. So walking up the stairs, for example, would cause her to get out of breath. She'd have to get to the top of the stairs and wait for about,
Hmm.
a minute to catch her breath back before she carried on doing anything.
Okay.
Walking to the other side of the room would cause her to get out of breath. Dry coughing, again, keeping her awake through the middle of the night, as well. And she lost her uh, taste, sense of smell and her sense of taste. And for me, I started off with a cough. It didn't get bad. It wasn't keeping me up late at night.
Hmm.
I was able to sleep quite well. But for me, I got tea quite badly. So I would get, when it got towards like 8, 9 o'clock, I'd get really, really sleepy. Waking up was
Okay.
really, really difficult. And basically, as I progress through the day, like even now, I get
Yeah.
better as I go through the day. Like, I wake up terribly,
Yeah.
really, really fatigued. I get better, and then it starts over again. And
Okay.
the weird thing for me is that if you can hear, I can breathe through my nose, no problem. But I can't taste or smell anything at all, which is very, very strange.
Yeah, this is actually a symptom that I first heard about the symptom um, from this YouTuber Dan Mace, and he
Hmm.
basically this is Casey Neistat's friend, and he basically said that I couldn't smell or I couldn't taste anything, and that was the first time I actually heard it,
Yeah,
and soon after that a lot of people started talking about it like that.
yeah,
Everybody basically started saying that this is also a symptom. So I
yeah,
mean, yeah, the guy is popular and everything, so maybe he got the word out as well. But for me, I feel like it's been like evolving from time to
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, you know,
Mm.
and now we all know for a fact that there are different strains, and
Yes.
it's just evolving right there. It's
Mm-hmm.
mutating and stuff. So that's I think a very scary part of it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so like, how are you doing at home? Like, with, you know, with this whole situation. Um, I talked to you earlier, and you basically said that you have not been tested yet, but you are
Yeah.
staying in isolation at home. So can you
Yeah.
talk to me a bit about that? Because I find it a little crazy
Yeah.
that you're not being tested for. I would
Yes.
like you to talk about that.
Sure. So
You give the
basically,
reason.
cool, no worries. So, main reason is that the UK government has just not been at all prepared for COVID at all.
Hmm.
It's still a problem now. Essential workers getting and NHS staff getting tested. Every day on the news, we're hearing about nurses and doctors saying that we're not being tested, we're having to go to work, and because we're dealing with people with COVID,
Hmm.
we're most likely having it and spreading it to other people. And for us, like even though my mum is an essential worker, my dad's an essential worker,
Hmm.
they can't get tested because they're not NHS staff, and there's
Okay.
nowhere close to us to go and get tests at all, um, which is why it's confirmed. It's very, very likely that we've all caught it and we still have it, but we have no way of knowing for sure because there's no way for us to get tests.
Mm. So I don't know much about this UK system in terms of NHS and everything. All I know, like, you know, they're doing the clap for the NHS workers and, you know, different things like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it from a person living outside of the country, not really part of the culture. I
Mm.
personally felt like, you know, they are going above and beyond. So I know you'll agree with me that the staff is. I'm
Yes.
just really curious, like, if it's really important for you, for example, to get tested
Mm-hmm.
at this point, what would happen if you just knock on their door and go like, listen, I need to do this?
Well, I would need to find a testing station where
Okay.
they're performing the test, and then they would probably ask me for my NHS card,
Mm.
and then I'd have to wait for test results or something. There is no public testing at the moment. The UK
Okay.
government says that they are doing like I think the number is like 10,000 tests a week or 10,000 tests a day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure on the exact number, but
Okay.
that is all going to NHS staff. So um, yeah, I mean that's the situation at the moment with concerning testing.
Yeah.
There's just not enough people, not enough staff, not enough test kits, and not enough preparation from the government to to test everyone who thinks that they might have symptoms.
Interesting. So like, you know, I was reading earlier on that, you know, Boris Johnson got the virus, he caught it, and then he, you know, he's cured now, he's
Yeah,
recovered.
yeah.
So does he, for the sake of sounding stupid, I guess, does he actually, does he come under the category of an essential worker?
I guess so. He
I
would have
guess,
been.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it. I mean, personally, I think a lot of it is kind of just like deduction or guesswork because
Yeah.
it seems that if you're out of breath and if you're out of breath and if you've got a dry cough, then
Yeah.
you probably have it. So we're just going to go ipso facto that you have it and treat you as if you do have it.
Okay.
Um, I don't know how long, for example, it takes for a test result to come back. You know, so you could start testing for symptoms, and then maybe it takes 3, 5 days or a week, 2 weeks to get those test results back. By then, it's too late anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Wow. This is a really crazy perspective. Like when I had to travel, you know this. Like I had to travel
Mm-hmm.
to Pakistan because of my parents, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and when I was there, I got sick, and I just isolate myself entirely. You want to get water?
I got some
Water?
water. Got
Okay.
some water. Stay
All right.
hydrated.
And so, like, and the first couple of days I was fine, but then the
Hmm.
next couple of days in the country, I was just feeling like really crappy, and
Yeah.
I, went to the biggest hospital in the city.
Hmm.
And the doctor was really nice, and I told him straight up. I was like, "Listen, I have a really decent life. I don't want to die like this." And he said,
Yeah.
"Listen, you don't have the symptoms,
Yeah.
but if you really want it, we will put you under quarantine
Hmm.
right after we basically test you."
Hmm.
This hospital actually had the tests then, and this is like back in February. So this is like
Hmm.
way back, and I'm just wondering, like, it's been so long. It's basically 2 months now,
Mm.
and you know, the bigger and Western, the better countries, I guess,
Yeah.
they don't seem to be as well prepared as the third world countries, basically. And I'm
Yeah.
just not sure why, but I also know this, that if I want to get a major surgery done in Pakistan, I can
Hmm.
get it a lot cheaper as compared to if I get it from the UK or the US.
Yeah.
Literally no Medicare. It's
Yeah.
all out of pocket solutions for us. But it
Yeah.
just seems like it's more accessible. Medical services are more accessible in those countries rather than the Western um, countries. I mean, do you have any opinion on that? Like, why is that the case?
I mean, it varies from country to country, as you
Mm-hmm.
said. I mean, for me, I have my okay. So, like, for my system, our system here is that if I'm sick or I'm a little bit sick, I'll go and see my GP, which I then need to
Yeah.
book. That might take a week, it might take 2 weeks. It depends how busy the GP is, and then I
Mm-hmm.
can get referred to the hospital. I mean, I don't really like there isn't like an outpatient system here, I think, in where you just walk up to, hey, I want to see a specialist, or
Yeah.
I think I have got this wrong. Can you see me right now? That service doesn't exist unless you pay for it. It's all
Yeah.
done through GP, unless it's an accident, an emergency, and then you get taken to accident and emergency,
Yeah.
where you have to, still wait to be seen, but you'll be seen within 2 to 4 hours, depending on how serious it is. Um,
Okay.
I mean, you can pretty much. I mean, the NHS. I mean, let's not kid us. The NHS is one of the best healthcare systems in the world, and it costs nothing for everyone who lives here, whether you're a UK citizen or not. And that's a really positive, great thing that we should be really, really proud of. I think
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, old or young, whatever your background, you're going to get the same top high care quality healthcare that everyone else is getting.
Yeah.
Does have its problems. It does have its faults, but it's there for everyone. Which is a great thing. And this is kind of leads me on to like what's happening now in the UK. Like there is really like with this COVID situation, there is just a massive, massive positive attitude and positive love going towards our NHS and healthcare workers stuff,
Yeah.
and they're being celebrated and they're being, you know, um, they're being celebrated and they're being praised as they should be um, now for all the hard work that they're doing and all the stress they're under right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, going back to your question. I mean, I guess it just depends, if you and I guess it's also to do with this, your personal COVID situation. Like, I don't need to go to a hospital. My mum didn't need to go to the hospital. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't want to. We shouldn't be going to hospital because we don't need emergency care. That care should be given to the people who really, really need it. The people who are like can't breathe, who need to be on ventilators. The NHS doesn't need our burden of like a couple of bad symptoms that we will get over. I'll get over this in 2 weeks. My mum will get over it in about a week, and everything will go back to normal, and everything will be fine. we don't need to burden the hospital with our minor symptoms. So it should only be there for the people who can't breathe, who need to be on ventilators, which is what's happening now. Which is
Okay.
a good thing. Which is a good thing, I think. Yes, there should be more testing. Um, there should be more testing, but yeah, it should. But the NHS should just only be there for the people who need it the most, the people who
Okay.
need it desperately, I think.
Got it. Interesting. Thank you for that whole lesson. Actually, that makes me understand situations over
No
there
worries.
quite a bit better.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, I don't want to make this whole thing about your COVID situation. It's I'm not saying it's a downer for me, but it's a downer for you. I don't want to have that kind of negative impact on you. To be honest, there
Yeah.
are some really nice things going on. There's some
Hmm.
positive stuff that I've been reading. Like, I mean, apart from ignoring all that hilarious, funny stuff in the U.S., where
Yeah. Let's
the
not talk about
nurses
that.
are nurses are standing up against people with
Yeah.
Dodge Ram 1500 cc trucks and stuff, and
Yeah.
attacking them. I actually had all that open before the sound situation happened, so
Yeah.
it's closed now. But I was reading this news on CNN. It's the headline is COVID-19 vaccine trial on humans
Yeah.
starts
That
as
started in. That's correct.
sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that's correct. That's just started on the Oxford University have just started human trials on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a positive story from now. There are people helping out quite a bit.
Hmm.
In Thailand, the government's basically sending around all these food packages
Yeah.
to everybody. They
Yeah.
actually brought it to my place as well. Um, and I thought they were going to check for flu. So they asked me for my passport, and I gave them a passport. They're writing it down. I signed a piece of paper, and then
Hmm.
all of a sudden they just like throw a huge bag. They just toss it, and they go like, here, this is for you. And I
Yeah.
was like, aren't you checking the flu? And they're like, no, this is for this.
Hmm.
And so I gave it back because I had already spent a bunch of money on macro and stuff, Tesco and
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like, it was probably good for people who might
Who really
actually
need
need
it?
it,
Yeah.
people who
Yeah.
can't afford
Exactly.
it and stuff. So there's that. So I'm clearly an angel in the form of a beautiful brown man.
Well,
Um,
you might need to put back your camera. Your head's getting a bit big. I'm
born
joking.
this way, can't do anything about that. There's also, no, let's not read that story. It's a sad one. Um, but yeah, that's about it. Do you have anything else to say to the people of the world? You can stay here for an
Well,
hour. I mean,
yeah.
yesterday I was online for 45 minutes. I don't know
Oh,
why people were listening, but
well,
there were a few viewers.
there is. Well, it is interesting, like what's going on. What we can compare what's going on in Thailand and the UK, for
Hmm.
example. Like, I know that you guys are there. I mean, Phuket. I don't know if they're doing it in Bangkok. But in Phuket, they've sectioned off the roads, right? You cannot go travel from district to district.
Yeah,
Okay, so they're
that's in the
really
UK as well.
no, there isn't in the UK.
Okay.
So what's happening here is just basically the government have said that you have to stay at home um, if you are a non-essential worker,
Yeah.
and companies have been shutting down, and people are now switching from working face to face to
Yeah.
working online. But there isn't, and in addition to that, there are new police powers. So if you are gathering in the park having a
Mhm.
barbecue with friends, the police can come and issue you a fine or arrest you, and um, if you refuse to like go home, basically. But what I think is really interesting over here is that when the lockdown initially happened, there was this big kind of a little bit of a resistance to it. I would say, like, people were not a kind of like f the government kind of thing that's going on in the UK now, but there was a definite like, well, how am I going to work, and how am I going to, what am I going to do with my kids, and what about going outside? And there was kind of like all these what's as time has gone on, there has been a real sense of, I think, community, and there's been a real sense of helping each other, and there's been a real sense of like the right thing for us to do is just to stay home. Everybody, like, now it feels like everyone is kind of pulling together and saying, I think what's happening is, as well, to add to that, is that the news is just completely full of COVID at the moment. There is nothing but COVID. And the stories that come every day are stories of NHS workers who have died on the front line, battling COVID. GPs, family, like doctors who, have come out of retirement and gone back into work to help people. Staff going around to old people's homes and making sure that they're looked after, and they are being fed, and they have the right care. And with that being on the news, like, constantly, that I think people have kind of got behind it and said, okay, if all these people are doing all these wonderful things to make sure that people are safe and people are healthy and not dying, and people are dying at the same time as these things going on, the least we can do is just shut up and stay at home. And it's really nice to see that. I think, that on the street that I live on, people are not going out. They are staying at home. Most of the cars haven't moved for weeks. There have been people on the street who will take out a deck chair and sit in their garden, or sit outside and just knock on their neighbor's door and then talk to them 2 meters away. I went for a run a few weeks ago, and before I caught COVID, and people were maintaining the 2 meter distance rule, and people are kind of like getting on with it, and that's really, really, like, lovely to see that. Even though we complained, and even though we moaned about it, and even though we were like, oh my god, the government's not doing this right or that right, now people are kind of being like, you know what, not that bad. And if it means that we're protecting our doctors and protecting our nurses and protecting our NHS, then the least we can do is just stay home, get fat, and watch Netflix for a while.
I was actually reading the story about Netflix. I featured yesterday, and it's like
I watched
about.
it, yes.
I'm sorry. Oh, you did. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it has like millions of subscribers, and they've made like what, 709, what was it, million or billion USD in the past 3 months, where everyone else is at.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. I mean, what a perfect time. Unfortunate events, but what a perfect time to own a company like Netflix and YouTube and stuff. Like, but stocks have gone down, Bitcoin has gone down, but I think also Bitcoin it has been rising up as well, which is good to see.
Yeah, Bitcoin's coming
for
out.
other people. I'm talking about people who own Bitcoin, not us. We're poor.
Yeah,
poor.
Yeah.
But
it's actually shut up right now. It's $7,400 US right now.
Yes, happy for other people, of course.
Exactly.
This brings me to this point. Well, there's 2 points. One is on a separate tab, but like, there were people have been complaining like a lot, and people like my parents who have literally not gone out for almost a month now.
Yeah.
Older, it's actually a pretty shitty situation where people actually don't want to listen, and they are insisting that there is something bigger, some ulterior motive. They're talking about the new world order and everything. Now, I me for a while now, I love a good conspiracy. I'm going to talk about who does it, right? But like, we literally have nurses dying and people dying, and
that's the point. Sorry, go ahead. The delay.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's interesting that all you have to do is sit on your butt at home.
Right.
And it's not such a bad thing. Like, if I talk about my situation, I've set up my room to be a really nice office space, and
Yeah.
I'm getting time to edit my vlogs and get online and talk to people, and just actually do things. There's actually very little time I have
Hmm.
spent on in front of the TV watching
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Very, very little time, and I feel like um, this is an opportunity to sit back and not relax. It's not a relaxing situation. You're scared shitless, basically.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, you do have the opportunity to make a little better of the situation. And I feel people are not doing that,
Hmm.
which takes me to the next point that, I read this article. It's called Prepare for the Ultimate Gaslighting.
Okay.
And it talks about the new normal.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing is about this article is people are actually, you know, okay, one part of it is, in truth, you want the feeling of normalcy,
Yeah.
and we want desperately to feel good again, to get back to the routines of life, to not lie in bed at night wondering what we are, blah, 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 blah. Instead of, like, scrolling through an endless human tragedy
Hmm.
situation on the phones
Hmm.
and stuff. But then basically they're saying that, is that really whatever we have been doing all of our lives for the past 100 years, is that really what normal should be,
Hmm.
where you're working your butt off, you're earning minimum wage, where
Hmm.
you literally have to have 2 or 3 jobs in the US, especially to
Hmm.
make it, to pay your bills.
Hmm.
And I wanted to talk to you about this. Like, what do you think about it? Because when I think about going back to work,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind if my office, basically my company, goes like, you can come to work from Monday to Tuesday, and
Yeah.
then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you can sit at home.
Yeah.
Saturday, you can come in the morning for half a day if you want, and
Yeah.
hopefully my boss is watching.
Yeah.
But like, it's interesting. Like, I wouldn't mind there being a different normal to go back to. I
Hmm.
wouldn't want to go back to a constant grind like we all
Yeah.
go through, basically. What's your opinion on that?
I think I think we were always kind of like I think we were kind of on the cusp of it happening, but we just needed a push.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is that in the news we were with in the news before the virus, people were talking
Mm-hmm.
about a 4-day work week or the
Yeah.
ability, like more people are working from home and digital nomads
Yeah.
and all these things that were kind of already there and already happening. And
Yeah.
they were kind of foreshadowing like an event, like what would it take for for everyone to work at home? Who do
Yeah.
we actually need to go to work? And then COVID basically shoved us off the edge of that cliff,
Yeah.
and we had to kind of release the parachute and hope that it worked because we weren't
Yeah.
open or not. And I think what's happened now is that now people are beginning to see like, okay, I'm able to do my job from home in the comfort of home and still be productive and get it done, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that yeah, and we're gonna see like after this is all finished, I think we are gonna see a change. I think we're gonna see companies say to each other, you know what, we actually saved a lot when on rent because nobody was in the office. We don't need office space. What who can work from home? Did they get it done properly? You know, like did
Yeah.
they have and I think we will see that kind of that COVID has pushed us very like almost unwillingly into the future of work and what work should be in relation to like humanity and mental well-being and health, mental health, and
Yeah.
we'll start seeing some changes there. And I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a good thing.
I think it is a good thing if companies actually stick with it, but that's what
Mhm.
this. I'll share this with you eventually, this article. But that's what they're saying. The title is "Prepare for the Ultimate Gaslighting." So they're basically saying that, all you've been basically shown all the good that a virus can basically bring. You can work from home on your butt, your own
Yeah.
time, and this and that. Be actually more productive than you are, because in the office and everything, you're constantly, being treated to some person or the other. You don't want their,
Yes.
existence around you
Me-
when you're trying to work.
Meeting after meeting after meeting, for
Exactly,
example.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
and that, but with gaslighting, it's like, they're trying to say that what
Hmm.
if it literally goes back to normal in such a way that everybody goes, "Hey, listen, there's a better way to do things,"
Yeah.
and everyone's just going to be like, "No, no, 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 that was that situation."
That was a fluke. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just an anomaly, and you can't just go back to
Mm.
that. This is how you want to work. And it also
Hmm.
talks about how marketing different
Hmm.
products is going to completely change
Hmm.
to an extreme, where they will actually try to market products in a completely different way to make sure that you understand that these things are more important than what you have been through. Right
Yeah.
now, everybody's spending money on what?
Yeah.
Rice, wheat, like
Yeah.
the basic necessities. Nobody's spending a lot because they don't have the money. They're
Yeah.
not earning, they've lost their jobs and stuff. But
Yeah.
they're like, marketing is going to change completely, where they're going to try to show you that everything you used to buy, that was
Hmm.
actually a way to stay happier and progress, I guess, in life.
Yeah. I think even extending that idea now is that with what's happening with the virus is that there's more of a sense of community than there has been ever before. Like people
Yeah,
looking out for each other and calling each other and making sure that people are okay,
yeah.
and that sense of camaraderie. Like, yeah, I think there will be some big changes after it finishes. I mean, if we go back to like work, if we go back to the work ethic thing, I think that what was actually holding us back
Mm.
from the situation that we are now is old people and not being able to use technology personally, or people
Yeah,
not willing or not wanting to learn how technology works and integrate it. We've been so kind of gaslighted into thinking like, yeah, this is just the way it is. This is just the way it is, and it doesn't need to change because it works. We need to have all these meetings. We need to have all these face-to-face communications. We need to go and photocopy 10 million pieces of paper because that's just the way that we've always done it. And
yeah.
this COVID has basically pushed um, people who didn't know anything about technology
Hmm.
in into an age where it's like if you don't utilize technology now, your business will fail. You will lose your employees. You will lose your
Yeah,
customers. You will lose all your business. So it's do or die. And now I think after we'll see some companies go back to the way things were because maybe they need to go back to the way things were, or it just works better for them. But I think we'll see a huge percentage of companies who just things just will be like, hey, you know what? Why change something if it's not broken? Now everyone's at home. Jeff got manages to complete all his projects on time, and so why bring him back to the office and take up office space, for example?
I agree. Yeah, it's a finger crossed situation, I guess. For me, I would love it if something like that happens. I just don't have much faith in humanity to think that positively and that progressively at this in this situation.
It won't. Yeah, it's not gonna happen all over the place, but I think there will
Yeah,
be there will
I
be
think there are changes. You're right. There
yeah.
are changes in how people are working, going to be
Yes.
working.
I mean, and it works. Everyone was questioning. I mean, this was always like if you look at business, people were always questioning like, what if we just all work from home? You know,
Hmm.
and now we've been forced into this. I mean, it's the biggest experiment of in the world right now.
Yeah,
Like
agree.
people are talking about economic downturns and recessions and things.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's going to happen. It will eventually happen, I think. But now there's just kind of like this, like this big question, like, but what if we just all work from home now? and now it's happening. This experiment is happening. It's really interesting to watch when
Great.
when maybe things go back to normal, quote unquote,
To the new normal.
to the new normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've been bad hosts, I guess. We haven't said hi to any of our viewers.
Hello, viewers.
Yeah, you did the job. There you go. But
There you
we do
go.
have. If there is anybody who has a question from Adam here from the UK, please
Adam.
feel free to ask if you have a question. From to ask of me, please do that as well. But I have a comment for you if you would like to read it.
Sure.
Mr. Adam, is by Mr. Jaya Balan
Yeah.
Durai Sami. Do you want to read it or do I read it?
Where is the comment?
It's on Facebook. Hello,
Okay.
Kunsaurat. Yeah. So the comment is, excuse me. My Lord Jesus, please protect and save from Corona virus and bless their families in Jesus' name. Amen. Um,
Right.
do you want to go into the segue of the whole religious situation that this virus has brought up? Because I mean, I don't have very few words to say about Muslim mullahs in Pakistan. Like
Hmm.
I could end them in this broadcast, but they'll probably end me by the end of the night,
Yeah.
physically. But in the U.S., I've seen in all these protests and stuff that they're talking about Jesus being the vaccine and I don't
Hmm.
need a mask and this and
Hmm.
that. What's your
Hmm.
opinion on this? If
Okay. Well, okay. I'll try and be as diplomatic as I can. It's like whatever your personal belief is
mm-hmm,
when it comes to religion concerning the virus is completely your own choice.
mm-hmm,
However, the science shows us that this is a virus. It's and that virus killed Christians, it's killed Muslims, it's killed people from all different religions
yeah,
indiscriminately. Indiscriminately, it doesn't care your race, it doesn't care your age. This once this virus is in your body, it has the potential to kill you. And you, as a human being who carries the virus, like me, I have the virus. I probably have the virus. I have a responsibility to society and to strangers and to people I don't know to not go outside and give them the virus because I could easily give it to someone who has a compromised immune system, who is
mm-hmm,
old, who is fighting cancer, who
mm-hmm.
has asthma, and I have now. I view it as like I have the potential to kill someone, like with me being infected with this virus,
Yeah,
and it hasn't got anything to do with religion. It's got everything to do with science and what the science says about that. And the science says that if I give this to someone, I could probably kill them. And I don't want to do that. So it's my responsibility to make sure that the virus is not passed on to anyone else. And Jesus, Allah, Vishnu, nor Thor, Loki, are not going to help anyone in this situation. What is going to help is human responsibility and taking
agreed.
and controlling and being responsible for your own actions. Don't go outside. Stay at home. Don't catch it. Don't give it to anyone. Don't give it to anyone else. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. Wise words. Um, uh, you know, there are these Molanas, these religious scholars and stuff. The scholars is quote unquote in my situation, in my
Mhm.
opinion, but they're talking about going to the mosques and we can't stop our religion, and just that. What
Mhm.
I and then I actually quoted scripture,
Mhm.
Quran from the Quran. towards these guys, and they just didn't refuse to listen. Even in the past, like 1400 years ago,
Yeah.
there was this story about a plague in a city where
Hmm.
Muslims were going to attack or whatever, and
Hmm.
they actually the prophets basically said we shouldn't do this
Yeah.
because there's a freaking plague, and here
Hmm.
we are uh, being attacked by this crazy deadly virus, and
Yeah.
people are like, no, 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 let's just leave it up to God. I think stupidity has never really been part of religion. I think it's been part of culture more,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
sometimes they go hand in hand based on the
Hmm.
locations and the people.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's a heavy note to actually end this
Yeah.
uh, uh, video cast. To be honest,
Well,
because
my, my,
I have
let me just
3%.
add, let me just add to that. Let me just
Sure,
add.
but I'm just telling you, I have 3% battery left on my camera.
Oh,
So
right. Okay.
this is all you. Go.
Right. Okay. So if you want to protect your Christian brothers, your Muslim brothers, your atheist, agnostic brothers, stay at home. Don't give them the virus because you could end up killing your brothers, your sisters, your mums, your aunties, your uncles, anyone. Don't do it. It doesn't matter. Your religion will go on whether you're at home. Your God will carry on loving you wherever you are. All you need is to stay home and protect other people. That's all you need to
Agreed.
do. If you love humanity and you love your fellow man, woman, sister, stay at home. Keep them safe.
Got it. Wise words, people. This was Adam, Mr. Adam from the UK. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
spending time with us. Um, and this was yet another an excuse for news views. It's not really a news views, but this was a fantastic conversation. Adam, I would love to have you back on the show when I get my bigger, better mic working.
Let's do it.
Okay. Take care, buddy.
You too.
Stay
Stay
safe.
safe.
Please keep in touch and
Will
stay
do.
hydrated.
Will do.
Take care,
Thank you. Bye
people.
bye.
Bye bye.